But there's also a scandal of history. Where is God in history? Why doesn't he intervene? Doesn't God see what's happening? Where is Christ? We used that example actually earlier in the beginning of our look at the scandal of the cross. So it probably was not as appropriate, obviously, now then as now. But this is also a scandal to many. The scandal of history occurs when we see evil reign and triumph within history, but do not see the direct intervention of God, right? So this is one of the temptations we talked about yesterday, the temptation of running after and trying to bring about a triumph within history. Having a Christian government that overcomes the evil government of the Antichrist or something like this. And that's a temptation. And that's what we want. We want to see God bring a heaven on earth, a utopia. That's the temptation of the end times that many will fall into, including, of course, Christians. So we see here that there's three kinds of reactions, isn't there? Different event, same event, but different results. We have these prophets who are slaughtered, and their dead bodies are there, their corpses are there. And we have three different kind of reactions. We have the reaction of the impious. The impious rejoice the defeat of the righteous. We have the reaction of the pious. They understand the cross. They're cross-centered. They glorify God with hope and expectation. They await Christ. They want nothing of a worldly glory, but they want the glory that is never ending. And they expect Christ to come, and they wait on Christ. And then there's the lukewarm Christians, the faithless ones, the fearful ones, who lose heart, and they end up falling away from Christ. They're the lukewarm. They're the most pathetic, the most tragic. God forbid that we are among them. Now, is this Jerusalem, this great city, right? We heard about this great city here in which all this is taking place. Is it geographical or is it allegorical? And we have allegorical examples. We have Babylon. At the time when the apostle was writing this, Babylon did not exist as an empire. So it was obviously, and it could only be understood as allegorical. It referred mainly to Rome. They used the term Babylon for all anti-God powers. And in Revelation 17:6, we have, he saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints. Now, that is that martyrdom, that bloodthirsty revenge of the pagan Roman emperors on the Christians is also referred to as the contemporary Babylon. So all anti-God, anti-Christ forces can be referred to as Babylon. But this is not possible here for Jerusalem. We do talk about Jerusalem generally as the city of God or the people of God, but this is actually not possible in this passage. Listen to what St. Andrew of Caesarea says. And he will abandon their bodies unburied in this Jerusalem, ancient Jerusalem, the one which has been destroyed, the same one in which the Lord suffered. So clearly the great interpreter, St. Andrew, says this is the city. This is actually a physical city. It's going to be a physical place. Everything is going to be geographical and not allegorical. He goes on and he says, it seems that in this city, they will rise from a royal house an imitation. They will rise from a royal house an imitation of David the king, from whose God's son Christ, our true God, was born in the flesh, so that he, the Antichrist, can convince the Jews that he is fulfilling the prophetic word, which is that I will rebuild the dwelling of David, which has fallen, and I will set it up. So obviously, the saint here is saying this is necessarily Jerusalem, because in this place is where the Antichrist himself will come to convince the Jews that he is fulfilling the prophetic word, the rebuilding of the temple. And everyone knows, I think anybody who spent any time looking at the book of Revelation and the end times, and you don't even have to spend much time, just listen to what the various sectarian Protestants say, and they're fixated on this question of when and if soon the temple will be built. This is clearly a sign of the coming of the Antichrist. I don't know how they interpret it, but that's how we interpret it. And that he will promise and give this promise and work toward this end. So he will do this in the city of Jerusalem. He will try to convince the Jewish people that he is fulfilling the prophecy of David by settling in Jerusalem. He will tell them that he has come to fulfill the prophecy, which calls for the resurrection of the fallen temple of David and restoring what was destroyed in it. He is certainly not going to deceive the Jewish people if he goes to New York or Melbourne or wherever, right? Luxembourg. It's not going to happen. He's got to be in Jerusalem. The Antichrist will do this in the specific geographical city of Jerusalem. Thus, a metaphor does not apply in this case. And there are 4 reasons quickly to go through, just in case you've heard or you're tempted by other interpretations. There's 4 basic reasons why, and we'll talk about them briefly. First, the whole scenery of the vision with the measuring of the temple refers to this specific city. Very important. It wasn't some other city. It wasn't some other temple. It was the temple in the city of, and that's the context. So second, this great city is characterized as both Sodom and Egypt. We'll explain why this great city has to be Jerusalem. Third, the clear observation that the 2 prophets will be put to death in the same city where the Lord was crucified. And fourth, the spiritual state of Jerusalem at the time will be like that of Sodom and Egypt. Now let's unpack each one of these. The first one, this great city. We see that the Antichrist is rebuilding the temple, which would certainly not be that temple used to hold catechisms. For instance, the Church of the Resurrection. In the time of St. Cyril of Jerusalem in the 4th century, when he's given his catechetical lectures, he says clearly, and he points to the temple, the Orthodox temple, he says, no, never in the temple of God, this temple. It will have to be, obviously, the temple of Solomon, which had been destroyed, and this will be the temple the Antichrist will rebuild, and not in any other city but Jerusalem. So this is a sign, and of course the sectarian Protestants are right. This is a sign, and it will help us discern the times. When we see the temple being rebuilt, we know what's happening. It's very clear where we're at. Number 2, this great city is characterized as both Sodom and Egypt. Due to its historical significance, Jerusalem is the city out of which came the Christ, the Lord of heaven and earth. It is the city therein wherein Christianity, the church, was born. The great city of Jerusalem is additionally described as Sodom and Egypt for the simple reason that the prophets themselves use these names for Jerusalem. So we read that Jerusalem, that all of them have become like Sodom to me, and its inhabitants like Gomorrah in Jeremiah 23:14. So the Lord and his prophets refer to those that reside in Jerusalem in this way. And the Evangelist, moreover, describes the great city of Sodom allegorically, and he means Jerusalem, not another city. So there's many witnesses in the prophets, in the Evangelists, in the fathers.